Well, welcome to another edition of Woman Crush Wednesdays. I am your host, Sega Thompson, the CEO and founder of Genesis Security Consulting Limited, also known as GSC. And today, my guest is none other than Aaleyah Evans, Cyber Girl.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Thank you so much for joining me today. So it's a pleasure to meet you in person. I just get to watch your posts on LinkedIn, so it's really good to see you. You know, that next generation of cyber women coming up in the Bahamas. It's great. So, what made you pursue a degree in cybersecurity?
So originally, my dad is also inside IT. So when I was younger, I kind of always was around computers. In fact, my mom took a picture of me by a printer before. So it goes like really way back. And then my first toy laptop, my uncle, Reverend Evans and my dad showed when I was, they both kind of work hand in hand to get me in IT. But when I went up to like elementary and I saw what my dad did, I was like, okay, cybersecurity seems cool. So from elementary, I knew for sure that I wanted to be in cybersecurity. So it just kind of stuck to now and in high school, and then I ended up developing the love in high school. So then going through high school, I kind of said, okay, I'm going to go to university. I actually studied computer science at university, but I still did a lot of cybersecurity things. So for instance, I participated in programming competitions with my professor, started a research paper with my professor in cybersecurity with AI, and then also I kind of was a little bit involved with doing different things. Like I started my own Instagram page with cybersecurity and doing videos and everything like that. So I kind of planted myself in cybersecurity so I can understand and learn what it was all about. And then from since then, it just took off.
Okay, that is great. I think it's good to have that. You kind of saw technology at work and knew early on. A lot of people aren't that fortunate. A lot of people don't really understand what cyber is. So I think it's good that you got that at an early age. Speaking of your dad, I saw that you co-host the Cyber Alert podcast with your father, which provides actionable cyber safety tips. So what motivated you to create that platform, and what impact have you seen so far?
So I feel like the actual podcast is a way for both my dad and I to kind of do things together, which is really cool. And we both loved cybersecurity, and so we decided that okay, we will do this podcast so that we can be able to reach out to different people and just give the world notice about how cybersecurity works and how to protect yourself. So that's what we did. And the impact, we did one episode so far and everyone seemed to love actually doing the podcast and all of that. So now we're working on multiple episodes like right now. Hopefully over the weekend we can be doing more. So we're just working on that more, but I'm hoping that we can have more impact than we did in the first video and try to actually get people to understand the importance of cybersecurity, because I feel as if in our world today, they don't really understand how cybersecurity actually works and how important it is. So hopefully we're able to reach more people with our episodes coming out.
That's good. Definitely keep us updated so we can look out for that. So you're known as Cyber Girl, and you're actively building a presence in cybersecurity as a student and a STEM educator. What inspired you to pick that moniker, and what does it represent for you personally?
So for me, Cyber Girl represents everything. Meaning that, so for instance, I love cybersecurity. So when I do my videos, you see cybersecurity, but there are videos where I build a robot. So you might see me, one of my videos that I want to do is actually teach people how to make an Ethernet cable. So I like to do things because I like Cybergirl because it kind of gives me that diverse knowledge. It shows that, okay, it's not only just about cybersecurity, but she loves everything in IT and would do anything with her videos. But I always try to relate them to cybersecurity. So whatever video I do, I said, okay, well, I'm making this robot, and then I talk about how cybersecurity can relate to AI and how we use AI to protect like our machines and devices and stuff like that, but then also how it can be also a bad thing as well in a
Right.
sense. Yeah.
So you teach people about the security components of the technology as well as how it can be exploited, which
Right.
is good because I think it's one that everybody didn't know that everything that is created out there is always good and bad, whether it's in technology, whether it's in medicine, and for all our tools that we use. I think that people sit down, they think about the good originally, and then someone says, you know what else we could do with this?
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
and then it goes just loud, completely
Definitely.
loud.
But then for me, for STEM educator, I put that because when I was in university in my last year, so I graduated in May 2025.
Oh, recent grad, congratulations.
So literally, I decided in March or April, I met with it was just like God divine. Like, I kind of met with the principal at the elementary school, and we decided to start a coding club there. So ever since then, I absolutely love like teaching kids about STEM, and the kids were like, they literally enjoyed it to the point where they didn't want me to go when I graduated.
What type of age groups were they in?
So they were in grade 4 to 6.
Oh,
So once I started that, it wasn't only just there, but in Canada we had the first Lego League team in that same school. So I actually was a mentor in the first Lego League, and then I helped my university actually with the robotics competition that they had.
okay.
So
I'm gonna ask you to take a pin right there and ask. First and foremost, what is a Lego League?
so
I feel that it's more than just building Lego blocks.
it's really not just about building Legos. So I teach the kids all about STEM, but also like real life scenarios. So the first Lego League basically is a competition where kids build their robot out of Legos, which is my favorite part. Building the robots out of Legos and even the missions out of Legos is pretty
Do
cool.
they have a kit for this? 'Cause
Yes, they do.
I have a
They
6-year-old
do.
nephew that I am pretty sure would love this.
They
And I'm
do.
and he's already telling me he's counting down to his next birthday. So
They do.
they send me the link.
Definitely. I have the kit and all.
What?
I literally love it. So basically, the kids, like when you buy the kit, it comes with Legos, and they build the robot how they would like to build it. So it's like the creativity of it, the engineering side. I really enjoyed that part. And then on the day of competition, we have to build missions. And during the practice, it was almost like if you're in a sport where you have to practice every day. The same thing with these kids, they actually go in every week and practice every week for their competition, and what they do is they program their robot to complete different missions. So they might have a robot have to complete a mission where they have to kind of maybe lift something up or put something down. And the crazy part about it is that the mission that's on the table actually relates to life. So this year theme was submerge, and I love it because I used to swim. So
Okay.
I was a competitive swimmer when I was in high school. So everything had to do with underwater and how the kids had to figure out life experience and how they solve these life experience problems. So they have something where they have to come up with maybe a creative idea to the actual theme to see how they can help protect our waters.
Oh.
So I feel like the first Lego League is like
Practical applications.
right, it's like the best first, like if you want to get into STEM as a child, you want your child to get into STEM. I think the first Lego League is like the best thing to actually get your child into. And it teaches you in engineering, science, and the impact is insane because I had like we were judging one of the groups, and when the kids were like, from doing this, I realized that I wanted to be a marine biologist. And I was like, whoa, when you're only in elementary. So I feel like it provides more opportunities for that.
Okay. Is there a Lego League over here? Do you know?
I don't know. I've been trying to see if there were actually one, but I don't know. Maybe we can start one. I really do want to start one.
I will
over there.
definitely inquire about that.
And then also, besides the first Lego League, I was a STEM mentor for Black and Indigenous first year women last year. So we helped 2 professors kind of make this group where we actually sit down and talk to the kids about, well, you know, life as a first year.
Okay.
And then life as a minority. So that's another thing that we kind of help the kids with. So that I actually enjoy. And there's many other ones too. But that's why I kind of put the STEM educator part because I'm really passionate about teaching kids about STEM because I don't want them to face what I faced in my first year. And I'll talk a little bit more about it.
Oh, okay. So, I've seen you've done some Instagram reels explaining things like steganography, and you make technical concepts accessible and fun, which is, I think, very important. That's why we have things like gamified learning now. So, what drives you to break down security topics for the community in more tolerable bites?
So when I was in high school, I said that I knew I wanted to be in computer science. But that reality really hit me hard when I came in my first year, because in my first year, it was hard. Like in high school, I didn't really learn programming. So when I reached my first year in university, I was like, oh my gosh, I struggled. And I failed classes because of that. But so when I realized that, okay, I am going through this, I don't want anyone else to also go through it. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to do my cybersecurity videos to help other people to actually understand. And I try to break it down in a way where I can also learn. So the videos aren't just for people on the community to learn, I'm also learning at the same time. Because I have to do research, I actually read a lot, and I have to study a lot in order to present the information to the public, which means that I am learning and I am growing at the same time. So it's a strategic way for me to actually learn that, okay, I can teach people, but then also I'm actually gaining information. Like for instance, one of my videos, I actually talk about how electrical car chargers are being hacked. And I read that from a research paper.
I tell them the more technologically advanced we become, the more hackable we also become. So.
Definitely. So it's just like for me to be able to learn more and grow, but also be able to
share that knowledge.
Right.
So I know you just graduated, but pre-me, how did you balance college and public-facing cybersecurity education? Because you had to study, and you also had to find time to research and make sure your content was engaging. So how did you do all of that?
So I can be so,
especially since you were doing Lego League and other mentorship activities.
If I could be so real, I did not balance everything well at all. My third year, I decided to be very active in university. So I was on the Computer Science Society board, and the next year I became president.
Okay.
And so that wasn't the only thing. I was in Toastmasters, area director, division director, on the club, like officer positions, and that's also not working 3 jobs at the same time, like on campus jobs. So when I first went into all of this, right, it was horrible. I could not, until this day, I'm still trying to figure out how I did it, because, and I'm being real, on my third year, the last day of my third year, I had an exam and I had to go to the hospital. I had like 3 rock stars the day before, like the exam, and I had a project that was due 12 o'clock midnight, and because I was in so much stuff, I wasn't able to actually manage my own schoolwork well at the same time. So
but somehow you made it through.
Exactly. So I would not advise. I would not advise to do it at all. But recently I had to learn that in life you cannot be everything and you cannot do everything. You cannot be superwoman. I think I kind of put in that ideology that I have to be superwoman. So I had to learn how to balance both my school, my social media, but then also my extracurricular activities. And I had to learn which one is priority. So sometimes in university, school became first, and I couldn't really study like that, which was fine. And then the same thing where, well, school always comes first, to be honest. Even after that. But I had, like, my last year of university, I had to really sit down and say, okay, my university schoolwork has to come first, and then doing my content creation for Cybergirl, but then also my extracurricular activity have to take the back burner. So I had to learn how to prioritize things, and then also I talked to Miss Demetria McKinney, who's my mentor, and she told me that you have to put things in quadrants. So when I told her how I would feel frustrated and I end up being burnt out my last year, she was like, you can't do everything. You have to know which one is priority or whatever goals you have. So my goal is to do this. I have to study for my certifications, then I will focus on studying for my certification, and everything else will have to be placed in the back burner. So I had to learn which one take priority, whether that would be me doing my content creation at that time. If something was to pop up and I have time, then I'll do it. But then if I didn't, it was still okay. It wasn't too much pressure at all. Yeah.
So, as a young Bahamian woman growing in cybersecurity and STEM education, what message do you have for other students of the Bahamas who may feel unsure about pursuing that?
So the first thing I would say is immerse yourself. So I one of the things that I wish I did was listen to my parents, especially my dad, because my dad is in IT. But the first thing he told me was, Aaleyah, at least try to learn a programming language in high school. I did not do that. I did not do
I
that at
personally
all.
don't like programming, okay? I do not. My personality in programming does not
It's a-
mesh well. And it may be, like you said, because it did not come up until I was in college, and I was like, no.
That was
no,
me
no.
too. It was horrible. I even to this day, I kind of now develop a love for it because it's kind of cool to be creating things. Like even with AI, I can code AI, and it's pretty
It has
cool.
not programming. I have two languages I tolerate outside of English and Spanish: SQL and HTML.
Yeah, they're the easiest one.
They're the only two that make more like sense because it's almost like written verbatim, and if I have to pass them, I just would be like, why?
No, literally. I like Python because Python is kind of easier, but Java, C++ is a no.
And all I'm seeing is, what is this C is?
It's a no.
C.
But I feel like
C. Plus, oh, good God.
it's horrible. But I do feel like if I did listen to him, I
So
would
this is the
do
moment when you would like to say, Dad, you were
You're
right.
You're gonna listen to this and you were completely right, 100%. I did learn my lesson. My first year, horrible. So I wish I did immerse myself, and that's why I'm so heavy on STEM education and teaching kids how to code and everything. So that's my first advice is to immerse yourself. If you feel like you don't know, still do something. So it'll give you the idea of, okay, this is what I want to be. Like I said, the kid told me, yeah, I think after doing this, I want to be a marine biologist. You just don't know. So I think immersing yourself in STEM is also a good thing. Another thing too, I heavy on this for me is that I trusted God in my path. Definitely trusted God in my path because I realized that a lot of times everyone said that I had to do certain things in order to be successful. And even in university, they had different criteria that you had to meet in order to be a successful person. Like if you want to do your master's, you should do honors. I didn't do honors at all. But then I got accepted for my master's.
I was
So
like, I didn't know that, but I have my master's degree too.
that's okay. So I feel like everyone has like this strategic plan that you have to walk in this footsteps. But I feel like every time I did something, the Lord opened the door. Because even with STEM, with the coding club, I wanted to be a TA, a teaching assistant who actually helped the professor to mark papers and help students. And the Lord never placed that for me to do. But for some reason, he had other plans too, which was the coding club. So I think that definitely was the biggest one for me. That those two are kind of like the main ones that I want to give to other people so that they will know that, okay, like trust God, but also immerse yourself and get yourself busy.
Speaking of that, I would say with your background, your formal education, your early education with your dad and stuff, as well as your love for programming, cybersecurity is vast. People always look and they think, oh, we're gonna hack something, or you're gonna be doing something of that nature. But there's so much more to cybersecurity. So I am curious, which path are you pursuing?
It's interesting because I feel like everyone asks you this question, and the first question I say is, "Oh, I want to do everything. Like I love cybersecurity, so I want to do everything." But then I realize you cannot do
No,
everything.
I'm like, ooh. That's because when you go in, you just think you have the idea of what it is,
Yes.
and then you're like, ooh.
Because I love network security. I love, like, I can go do that. I can do incident response, or I can even do pen testing. So I love
Not to
every
mention there's still application security.
right. So
AI has its own security.
right? So it's like so much
Identity
more.
management, as it okay. So
It's
this
a long
goes
list.
on.
So I feel like whatever path the Lord has me on, then I would
You're still
follow
open.
it. But for my long-term goal, I want to be a CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. So I do want to go in leadership because I love leadership. And then I want to be a professor because my professor.
I see that.
Right.
That is my question because you speak a lot about teaching and along that path, and so I can actually see that, especially with your love and your passion about sharing that knowledge. So I can actually see it.
My professor, Dr. Aaleyah Evans, he was amazing. Like, he's an amazing professor. Even to this day, I already graduated, and I'm like, Professor, I want to actually do a research paper on AI and cybersecurity with intrusion detection. And he's like, yes, let's do it. We're just gonna do it. So he has been like, he definitely has helped me and inspired me in university. Because a lot of times when you go to university, people tell you, like, when you go to high school, they tell you, well, you know, the professors don't care about you. But at my university,
they tell you on your own.
You're on
you
your
say
own.
this, and you have to do independent learning.
Literally, my professors at Acadia University, they really set my path and inspired me. So after I saw that, I was like, yeah, professor teaching is also something I want to do. And then for my short-term goals, I want to be a cybersecurity specialist. I want to know everything. And then I want to be a security architect.
Okay.
So I like designing things too, and engineering and stuff like that.
I get that.
Yeah. But then I took a recent interest in security research. So seeing like researchers do different things and coming up with new attacks that hackers are using and stuff like that. And they have like an institute that actually focuses on security research. So that was something that I found to be very interesting. That's why I really wanted research papers. So I don't know if the Lord will have me go on that path, but we'll see.
Hey, you're open, eh? And
We'll
you
see
turn
how
it over.
it
We will see.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I like that. I think you've mentioned two mentors since we started talking. Did you say Sumitra McKinney? Yeah. The black lady. Yes. I know her very well.
Literally.
As well as your professor. So what role has mentorship, whether you gave or you received, because it seems like you've been on both ends, played in your journey, and how do you envision paying that forward?
It came a lot for me. I realized, I told my sister this actually a few days ago, I feel like things that I could have accomplished in 10 years, I feel like I did in kind of like 3 years. And so,
Okay.
and I think this
You call that overachieving.
No,
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
I'm an overachiever. I would
Say, I admit it, I accept this, and this is what I am.
And literally, I have it bad, like really bad.
Hey, you call it superpowers. It's superpowers.
Literally. So I realized that in a lot of things that I have experienced, my father didn't have a chance to experience. So for instance, right, one of my professors, Dr. Mary, the same one I was telling you about, he allowed me to be in a cybersecurity competition in Canada. And he took a few of us on and he drove us all the way from Nova Scotia, Wolfville to New Brunswick. And we sat there, we did the cybersecurity competition, and then he
Is
drove
this
us
like a
live.
capture the flag type thing?
It was, yes. And we had to sit down and we were figuring out everything. And I'm like, Professor, I don't know, this is kind of crazy. But he like stuff like that, it made me felt like I actually had someone who actually cared. And when I go to him, he can be able to say, okay, Aaleyah, I went through this, you can do this. So and then he also invited me to be on he taught a class called AI Methods in Cybersecurity. And it was a master's class, like a master's student's class. And he was like, yeah, you can come in and sit right there. So I sat down, I was able to give input inside the class to the master's students about their research papers. So that actually, like stuff like that you don't really experience on a daily basis. And then my dad, he's also another one who kind of like, Aaleyah, you gotta do this and you gotta do that. You gotta make sure everything is this and that. So my parents, and my mom too, she actually were the one who gave me advice to do the videos on my Sassy Girl page. So I feel like they also kind of help. And then Miss McKinney, amazing. I feel like she helped me a lot with life in general. I feel like when I go to her for anything, it's like she always is there like, okay, Aaleyah, like, this is what happened, and I feel like we're like a lot too. So she's able to kind of
I can see that about my personality. I can see it.
She can definitely relate to a lot of things I'm going through. But then in general, just like I said, I'm in Toastmasters. And even just sitting at the Distinguished Toastmasters Masters feet and actually listening to them when I went to the Toastmasters International Convention.
Hey.
Even in the Bahamas, they have amazing Toastmasters in the Bahamas. And they just, like, I'm just like in general, just being around people who are older than me and able to give me wisdom, even in church. It's like, it's all over. So I feel as if mentorship has been the main thing for me to get me where I am today. And I have a lot of amazing people in my life who kind of lead me to the right path. And I get ideas from everybody. And kind of helped me with how I move on. And then I also want to give back to other people and mentor people even in university. So it's been great. I
You
love
definitely can't even pay it for
it.
it.
Definitely.
Love that. I love that.
Huge thing.
All right. So looking ahead, how would you like to shape your identity and career in cybersecurity? And what legacy do you hope to build for future behemoth cyber girls?
I had to really think about this really deeply because I feel as if the first thing, like I said earlier, I wanted to be Superwoman. Like when you see me, I want you to say that, oh, that is Supergirl. She does everything.
Not Cybergirl, Supergirl.
Literally.
Gotcha.
And even with Cybergirl, people say that when they hear Cybergirl, they kind of relate it to Superwoman and stuff like that. But I had to really sit down and think about this because I feel like we don't often think about that question in general. The first thing I wanted to actually root my identity in is in Christ because I know that I'm a child of God. So I want to make sure that everything that I do is for His glory and not mine. So I want to, that's my main thing because I feel like if I identify myself too much into like, oh, my work in cybersecurity, I feel like I lose focus on the real thing and you're never going to be pleased. So I feel like that's the main thing for me. And then also, I want to be recognized as someone who makes an impact in the community, who actually is serious in what she does, but also is selfless. It's a heartbreaker, but then also unshakable at the same time, no matter like whatever is thrown at you. And trust me, I've been thrown left, right, and center.
You're being forward to the fire, is what you're saying?
I'm only 22 and I feel like I went through even in university, like my last month in university, I almost thought I wasn't going to graduate and I had to literally hold the fort and pray. So it's a lot. It's a lot that I experienced and I had to sit down, even with being president of Computer Science Society, I was the only girl on the board for 2 years. And I had to, and we all know how that went. I had to hold the fort.
So what you're saying is you're already used to, at 22, going into a room for cyber and understanding you may be the only person there, and you have to represent for all of us.
It's true. It's literally true. I don't
That's
want to
called on the way real world experience. Look at that. Early on.
I don't want to say like it never happens because it does. Like it really, really does, and it's serious because sometimes you're out, you walk in. The first time when it happened, I'm like, oh wow, like it's only me here. Like I really have to represent. I feel like now I wasn't as confident in myself at the time, but now I am. So when I walk in the room, it doesn't bother me. And sometimes I forget that I'm the only girl in the room because I'm like, okay, I'm just as qualified as everyone else, and I'm going to say, you're gonna hear me adjust my opinion.
That's the spirit right there.
So even like it doesn't bother me at all because I know what I'm focused on. So having that confidence to being confident in knowing that you are in the room and you do belong in the room and God placed you in that room for a reason. I had to learn that too with being president. I realized that God placed me there for a reason, and when I'm looking back, when I was younger, I would have never thought that I would have led the Computer Science Society, but then make a huge impact leading it. So yeah, I all those things I want to be grounded in. I want people to see that, but also to see that I'm also a child of God, and I carry myself like that as well.
I love it. I love it. So this is the part of the episode where I tell you why you were selected. So you have made it to my WCW list because one, you are young and I could see your passion. And I love that about you without even meeting you. I do follow you. I followed you for a while now and I was like, okay, this is Sherman's daughter. Let's see how this goes. But I see that you seem to have been doing things independently from your father as well as keeping that support. Having now met you in person, I am even more crushing because you have that love of Christ and it is shining through. Your passion is, woo, girl, you're filling up the room. And I like that you have an indomitable spirit and you are letting your light shine very brightly. So I, for one, will continue to be looking out for you, praying for you, and rooting for you for the sidelines because I know you will be doing awesome things. Not just here in the Bahamas because I feel that your impact is going to be far-reaching and I am here for every moment of it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot because when you messaged me, I was like, oh my gosh, like because I've also like looked at your page, and from when I was in my third year, I was watching your page as well. So it was like, oh my gosh, yes. I'm like, oh my gosh, freaking out. I was freaking out all week actually, and I was like, my sister, oh yeah, I'm so excited and everything. So yeah, I definitely, and I admire, especially all the women in cybersecurity. I really admire, and I watch, especially the Bahamas, because I don't think you guys understand how much you're impacted me a lot. Even in university, sometimes you sit there and you see that, okay, like I'm in the room by myself, but sometimes all I do is think about you guys and how you guys make impact here in the Bahamas and how I see you and in front of me. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do it too.
Yes,
So,
trust me, we can do it. Anybody else.
Exactly, a huge impact on my life.
And we're out here trying to make sure the road is much easier for those that come after us.
A huge impact on my life. Trust me, a huge one.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to see what the future brings.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Until next time, guys. And someone, let me know, who's your WCW?